At this point, Claude Code has become a pretty indispensable tool for me, and I'm very excited to say that we have full support for the new Claude Sonnet 4.5 model inside of the Zuplo AI Gateway. We also have support for the Anthropic V1 Messages API endpoint, which means that you can now configure Claude Code to work directly with that model or any of the Claude models through the Zuplo AI Gateway, and I'm going to show you how to set that up. So on the screen, I have a new AI gateway ready to go, and we're going to go through the process of setting up the provider really quickly, which for us in this case is going to be Anthropic. So I can go right here, select Anthropic as the provider, set my label as Claude Code, and put in my API key. This is my Anthropic API key that we need to be able to access any of the models that we want to use from the Anthropic API, so all of the Claude models. And in this case, what we're going to choose is Sonnet 4.5, which is the latest model that they released just this week. So now that we have that set up, I'm going to go and create a team. This is great if you want to be able to control access for a dev team, for instance, and allow them to be able to have cost control over what it is that they're spending, but also be able to do much more controlled access to the API keys that they have available, rather than having a shared key that's going around and potentially could be compromised. Doing it this way is going to give them not only self-serve access to be able to generate their own keys against an application to use with their own versions of Claude Code, but also the ability to add the cost controls and any kind of limitation that you want to put in place as well. So I'll create a dev team here. We'll pick an icon for them. We'll go with the little robot. And once that team has been created, we can go ahead and create an application. So this could be for anything. It could be on a per app basis. It could be on a per project basis. It's really up to you how you decide to put this together. But what we'll do is we'll create an application here and say, okay, this is what is going to get used for this week's hackathon. So we give it the name of hackathon. It can be assigned to the dev team. And now we need to say, okay, we need a provider for this particular application. We just have the one set up right now, which is our Claude Code provider. Select the model. We want to use Claude Sonnet 4.5. And then for this particular application, we want to set some kind of a limitation on it. So we will go with a monthly limit and say that we don't want this to use any more than $10 worth of spend. So once we have created the application, we've got our limitation in place and our provider set up, what we now need to do is go and configure Claude Code so that it is routing requests directly through the Zuplo AI Gateway and then through to Anthropic, rather than directly to the Anthropic API itself. So in order to do that, what we need to do is make a modification to the settings for Claude Code. And there are two ways that you can do this. You can either specify specific variables in your environment so that they will be pulled in once you run it. So for instance, if I was to run Claude and I had this set up in my environment, it would pull it in at this stage. The other way that you can do it is by adding them into the settings.json file for Claude, which lives just here in Claude settings.json. Right now, mine is completely empty, so we need to make some additions to it in order to get it to route requests through the AI Gateway. So what I'm going to do is jump over to Cursor real quick, and we will make those additions. So two environment variables that we need to add in order to get this up and running. We need one for the Anthropic authentication token and another one for the base URL. So the Anthropic authentication token in this case is not going to be an Anthropic API key. It's going to be a Zuplo AI Gateway API key, and we get that from here inside of the application that we just created. Up the top, there is the API key. So if I copy that and paste that in there, and then we also need the Anthropic base URL, which I can get just here from this gateway URL dropdown. If I copy that and paste that in, click on save, and then we're good to go. that is everything that is needed now to get Claude to respect a different token for the authentication and a different base URL to use for this particular project. So let's check it out and get it up and running. Let's clear this and we'll jump into Claude. And we'll ask Claude for, give me some details about React 19. So it's going to go ahead and do its thing, figure out some information about React 19, and then give me that information back. So there we go. I've got a quick breakdown of everything that's in the React 19 package, but let's jump over to the other window and start taking a look at what information we now have by refreshing this. So if I take a look at this application once again, and I refresh the page here, we're now going to start to see information flowing through the Zuplo AI Gateway. So you can see that I have now made with this application one request. It was 691 tokens, and it cost a modicum of cents in order to do this. So now we are up and running, connected with the Anthropic API via the Zuplo API Gateway, and Claude Code is still running exactly as it was before. We can now jump in here and monitor everything that we would like to monitor. We have full dashboard in here, so we can see the request volume, the cost usage over time, token usage, time to first byte, all of the other information that we may want to use. We can also go and add policies here if we need to now, but most of all, we've got our cost control in place, so the hackathon does not necessarily need to blow the budget for this month, and there's still going to be room for next month's hackathon, or maybe some pizza. We'll see.